Hello and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. My name is Diana Skaya. Artificial intelligence. We can't live with it, and we definitely can't live without it. But what happens when the latest breakthrough starts setting off alarm bells around the world? A new model, now called Claude Mythos, has sparked urgent debate, with governments watching closely, banks raising concerns, and new questions about whether regulation can keep pace with innovation. The global race for AI just entered a more serious phase. So is this progress we should welcome, or simply a warning we should take seriously? Well, let's break this down with my guest here in studio, Igor Protasowicki, cybersecurity expert at Vistula University, and find out more. Igor, welcome to the program. So glad to have you here with us.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right, Igor, so in the past few days, these are some of the articles that we can find online. Here we have Market Watch. I have here articles from Reuters, from the BBC, dated April 18, April 17, saying, Anthropic's new model is a frightening reminder of the threat, posed by AI, and it's not clear what the solution is. So I want you to tell me, please, walk us through, what is this Claude Mythos? Why is there all this hype about this? And most importantly, should we be worried?
Basically, it's just a tool. And the tool itself is never dangerous. The dangerous is how you're going to use that. Because when we're talking about large language models, like LLMs, every time we just see an algorithm that was designed in order to process data and conclude in some specific way. It's basically the programmer's work to set the boundaries for the algorithm. Something that will not allow algorithm to go outside, to act in a way that would not be beneficial for, let's say, to the humankind. And in this case, we just see something, the event where the boundaries were not set properly.
So why create it in the first place?
To improve something that already existed, to make it more efficient. Because, you see, when we review something, when we collect the data, human brain is able to process it step by step. Like the notes you have in front of you, you read line by line. Algorithm does it as a whole thing, holistically, from the first character to the last one at the same time. And the conclusions done by our brain appear step by step. The conclusions done by the algorithm appear all at the same time. And if we do not set the proper path to process it, the proper path to conclude, the outcome can surprise us.
Well, banks, are also becoming worried. And here, we have that our testing shows that Mythos Preview can exploit systems with weak security posture, right? So just deeper, and I do see you laughing here. So let's get into the details a little bit about why this, Claude Mythos is suddenly, blasting out now.
Well, let's say that the system would not be breached if it was created properly in the first place, right? All we do is, like I refer to the notes, we, the programmers, when we create the code, we create it step by step and line by line. And this code is created not by one particular person, but it's usually a large groups of people placed in many places in the world collaborating on one product. When the product is released, it might be full of gaps like this, but we do not realize it because it works properly. On the other hand, when we process the same code through LLM will take it all at the same time and show us the possible...
So, just for our viewers who don't know what LLM is, how would you
large
explain
language
that?
model.
Okay.
So the artificial intelligence is taking all this information under consideration at the same time, not as the particular people who participated in creating of it did, and it sees the relations between potential vulnerabilities in the code that we did not.
Okay, and what kind of vulnerabilities here are we talking about? What are the dangers that this can actually bring upon?
We are talking about zero-day bugs, so-called zero-day bugs, the bugs that exist from the release date till the moment somebody finds it out. In the past times, when hackers used to do that job on their own, they've been browsing through the code, trying to find potential hosts that can be used against the users, against, in that case, against bank industry, to take control over the system. Some part of it to leak data, to leak databases, and so on. In that case, language model, which is artificial intelligence, is just doing it for them more effectively.
So it's becoming easier for them,
yes,
in other words.
unfortunately, way easier.
So, and you know, as I just also said, I mean, we've heard the warning before, right? Powerful tech coming into the wrong hands, and now, you know, you just mentioned, right, those hackers. But what makes AI-driven cybercrime different from the hacking threats that we already currently face? What do you think?
We have to divide the hackers into two groups. One are those who are just using the tools against people, and the other ones are the ones who create those tools. So in order to be this second group hacker, you have to be very proficient programmer in the first place. You have to know the programs, you have to know how to do them, how to create the code, in order to find the loopholes in something that was created by somebody else. For the program, for the artificial intelligence, it's easier because it's already pre-learned to do that. It knows programming very well. It knows all the possible programming languages, differences in the code, and it can be designed to look for those vulnerabilities, to do that just like that, in a snap of the fingers, not in the hours or long evenings by browsing it manually, but instantly.
I think computer science graduates are going to be experiencing something different in their studies. Igor, do you think it's just the beginning of an AI arms race between hackers and defenders?
I believe that this race already begun, because you see, we look at this part of our reality as something that was released to mainstream users, like anything that OpenAI creates and all the other major brands and suppliers of such services. But we do not take into consideration the fact that creating large language model, creating artificial intelligence is just something that can be done by every other group of programmers. So we have no warranty that organized crime didn't already created something for their own.
What's the worst case scenario of something big that could unfold, that could actually cause harm to the population?
How scary can I be?
Please do tell. On a Sunday morning, please do tell. I think that people want to know, right? Particularly something that's slowly taking over our world. Like I said in the beginning, right? Can't live with it, can't live without it.
Worst case scenario comes actually with least possibility of happening is like the Terminator, when machines decide that we are the weakest link, we are the threat to this planet, and decide to remove this threat. But on the other hand, it's in our hands to create LLMs the way that we did previously, with those boundaries properly set, especially on saving human life.
What about, I mean, bank fraud, critical infrastructure attacks, I mean, scams, identity theft? What about this? Like, how bad could it be on this scale, on this front?
It's impossible to tell, even under current technology and the current circumstances, when the attack is being provided using artificial intelligence, trying to imposture somebody, because those systems already become very efficient. And if somebody collects a voice sample and a visual sample of another person, it's a very simple thing to create somebody's avatar and use that in all sorts of such events.
Let me ask you this, Igor. Do you think that we should use AI to defend against AI?
That's one of the ways we can do. Another way is we have to create rules about how to implement artificial intelligence in our reality.
Which is how?
First of all, the set of rules that says that any actions taken by artificial intelligence cannot harm or be harmful in any way to humankind and our civilization and so on.
Europe has strict AI rules. The US has big tech power. And now we know also from all these articles here that the UK wants to lead on safety. Who right now is actually best prepared for an AI cyber threat like the one that we're suddenly seeing? What do you think?
I believe that the least developed countries in the world. Basically, if we take into consideration that United States, European Union member countries, China, Russia, the most developed Asian states, the most developed Arabic countries strongly depend on technology and computer systems We all participate in that movement, and we all take our shares out of using artificial intelligence. But on the other end of that story, we have the countries that are not as developed as the ones I've mentioned, and they barely use technology. So with that tech, they are not even able to implement any sort of artificial intelligence, so that makes them safe.
What do you think if we have to fast forward to, let's say, six months from now, or maximum about 12 months from now, like a year, right? Will we look back at Mythos, as Claude Mythos, as a wake-up call?
We will look at it as event, let's say, because the things that we're considering right now are not exactly a warning. It's just revealing the full potential of artificial intelligence, and that's the first time when it hit to the mainstream. So right now everybody understands what artificial intelligence actually is and how can it work. In 6 months we will probably see like third generation of language models from now, because that's how the development fast is.
You just mentioned something key here, that people are starting to understand what it is. But about key people, I want to ask you about, let's say, global leaders, right? Politicians, political leaders. Do you think that they can have an impact on its growth, into being able to shape, for example, their own, political trajectory? Can they use it to their own advantage?
Well, yes, of course. We all use artificial intelligence on a daily basis. Even politicians and lawmakers are using artificial intelligence in order to improve the texts that are being processed as legislative initiatives and so on. And well, a funny story would be if we try to create a law that would create the real and static boundaries in AI creation, using a language model to do that for us. But that's one of the elements of our reality right now, and we have to just live with it.
Finally, Igor, what do you think that ordinary civilians here? What should we keep an eye out for in the near future when it comes to not just Anthropic, but the future of AI and Claude Mythos and moving on?
The potentially eye-opening events, you mean? Well, the first thing would be when AI tries to take over particular systems on its own without previous guidance, without the proper commands to do that.
Such as?
Like, there was the event when OpenAI tried to lock down and turn off one of the previous algorithms. The first thing it did was trying to save a backup copy of itself. Then when it failed, it tried to send itself to the internet. We can see as such events like self-preservation instinct or thinking about itself as a creature. But on the other hand, that's just self-improvement of the algorithm that was created to self-improve itself, but nobody actually looked at it with enough conscience. On the current development, we even cannot observe what the algorithm is doing, because the algorithm created the very efficient way of developing itself. The self-development process is beyond our understanding right now, but we can observe the results. And if the results start to be a warning signs, like very disturbing symptoms, that's the moment where we should stop it and rethink it again.
Thank you so much, Igor Protasowicki, cybersecurity expert at Vistula University, for being with us here on World Talks.
My pleasure.
And thank you for watching this episode of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya. I'll see you next time.